Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. So I'm going to put up a video later on tonight, but this is kind of an impromptu video because I read a quick article this morning and I exactly forgot which site, but it was talking about car loans and car debt and how much debt Americans are in, through car loans. And I was thinking, I think it would be a good message to put out there that when you prep, that you have to prep within your means. I remember reading in a comment or two a while back, probably months ago, on people saying that they were going to go into debt to get long-term food storage. And some people even asked me, is it a good idea, instead of paying down loan, to go ahead and put preps on a credit card? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a financial advisor, so everything that I'm telling you here is my opinion and my opinion alone. But I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a quick, not lesson really, because I'm not really a certified teacher or anything like that. I've got an associate's degree in general education. So you're going to get that kind of a quality lesson from me today. So I want to think about how many people know about the rule of 72 when it comes to interest. And it's very simple. And it brought me back to a time when I was in the military and I had a soldier under me who came to me and said, Sergeant, I'm thinking about buying a car. And I asked him, okay, what kind of car are you getting? And he said, I think it was going to be an Impala or something like that, but it was going to be a nice car and it was going to be a new car. So I said, listen, and he came to me on a Friday. And I said, listen, do me a favor. I said, I'm not telling you what to do. It's your money. You earned it. You should spend it however you want. I said, but instead of buying the car this weekend, can you do some homework for me? And, after you do this homework on Monday, come back to me with what you've got. And then after that, if you still want to buy the car, of course, I'll support, whatever you want to do. And so what I did is I counseled them. And in the military, or at least in the Army, there's three types of counselings, really, that I usually go by. And this may not be by the book for those of you that may still be in the military, as far as what types. But one of them is a counseling if you do something really good. So if you do something that's above and beyond your job description, you counsel that soldier and say, listen, I noticed that you did this, and this is going above and beyond what you're supposed to do. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your efforts and that you're really contributing to the team. And you're pretty much encouraging them to continue to do the things that they're doing in a positive way. That way they can continue to grow and advance and get promoted and things like that. So that's one type. Another type is a negative counseling. It's when a soldier does something bad that they're not supposed to do. And what you do is instead of getting them in trouble, like getting them in UCMJ or anything like that, you give them a chance to correct their behavior by telling them, hey, listen, I noticed you did this. This is not the right thing to do. If you do this again, this is what can happen. This is the first, second, tertiary effects of your actions, and it can cause damage or injury. And then you also counsel them and tell them this is what you should have done instead, and you try to guide them to what they're supposed to do. That's the right thing to do. And then the other type of counseling that I was really exposed to was what I call a neutral counseling. So for example, when this service member came to me and said, hey, I want to buy a car, what I did was I counseled them and I said, listen, before you buy this car, go ahead and get with at least 2 or 3 insurance agencies and see how much it's going to cost you in insurance per month. Call at least 2 banks and see what kind of a bank note or what kind of an interest rate you're going to get for that car and for how long. And then at least research 2 other places where you can buy the same car and see how much it is. Well, after he did all of this, and I also explained to him what the rule of 72 is. Let me go back a little. And what the rule of 72 is you take the interest rate that you're going to be paying. In his case, it was like a little bit over 12% interest rate, right? And he was a very young soldier, so I can understand why interest rates was a little high, because he was still young and he really had never taken out a loan before. So let's say it was like 12% interest rate. It was like 12.3 or something like that, but we'll narrow it down to 12%. I explained to him what the rule of 72 is. And what the rule of 72 is you take the interest rate that you're paying and you divide it into 72. So you divide 72 by the interest rate. In his case, it was 12. So that comes out to 6. 72 divided by 12 is 6, which means that if you're paying 12% interest on that loan, for every 6 years that you're paying on that loan, you're paying back in interest the amount of the loan that you took. So for example, if you take out a $20,000 loan for 6 years at 12%, you'll end up paying back $40,000. So he came back to me on Monday after that weekend, and he realized that what looked like a good deal on top, after realizing what he was going to have to pay in insurance, which was going to be like $160 a month, just in insurance for that one vehicle. After realizing what he was going to have to pay in insurance, what his actual car payments were going to be, and how much interest he was actually going to pay after the loan was done, he came back to me and said, "Hey, Sergeant, I decided that instead of getting this new vehicle, I'm going to get this used one that I can pay for in cash right now." He had like $3,000 or something like that. And I said, "Hey, you know what? I think that's a great decision that you're making, and I think it's a smart one. And like I said, I support you 100%, no matter what you want to do, because it's your money. But I just wanted you to be informed as to the finances of purchasing a vehicle." And, it ended up being that he, in my opinion, made the right decision. And truthfully, about 2 or 3 months later, he ended up getting orders to go to Korea. So would he had bought that brand new vehicle, he would have ended up with a vehicle going to Korea that was a lot bigger than what they're used to driving over there, or he would have ended up having to take that vehicle and put it in storage and let it sit there for a year until he got back. So that to me was a successful counseling, and the service member ended up doing the right thing for himself, as far as finances go. Now, why do I say don't go into debt to finance your preps? Because, ladies and gentlemen, what you're doing when you're prepping is you are doing something that can give you a little bit of power to have some control over a situation that you cannot control. So for example, let's just use your garden variety prepping scenario. You're prepping in case the supermarkets go down, right? And or in case we have a credit freeze or a financial crisis, which would enable the supermarkets to go down as far as their shelves being empty. So you're empowering yourself by getting food now, so that if that happens, you can have a little bit of control over you being able to eat, you and your family being able to eat. So if a credit freeze or something like that occurs and you're in a lot of debt, what will happen is how will you be able to pay that debt back? How will you be able to get the funds that you need to pay that debt back? Because at any time, a bank can call in your debt. So if you have a car note and a bank decides that because they're failing, that they want to call in your debt, they can call in your debt and say, "We need you to pay in your money in full." Now, if I'm wrong on that, please let me know, because I could be wrong on that. That's just the way that I understand it, that a bank can call in their debts when they want. And from what I understand, this is one of the things that happened during the Great Depression, is that banks were calling in their debts now, saying, "We want our money now." All right, so why would you put yourself in a position where you're going to be owing money on top of a situation where you're going to be stressed out, needing to figure out how you're going to feed your family? What I'll leave it with is, in my opinion, one of the greatest wealth building tools that there is two things. Is you having an income, all right, and you not paying any interest, meaning that you're not in debt. So if you earn interest, you're in a good position. But if you pay interest, you're in a bad position. So what I would say is take a look at yourselves and take a look at your finances and ask yourself, am I paying interest or earning interest? Or even not earning interest? I don't earn any interest on any precious metal purchases that I've made, all right, that are sitting in my hole somewhere that I dug and buried them in, right? I don't make any interest in that. But what do I do with that? What that does is it enables me to continue to have the purchasing power that I had the day that I bought those precious metals. And it will allow me to have that purchasing power in the future whenever I decide to liquidate them. So don't put yourselves into debt to prep. Now, some people will probably come on here and say, well, if the SHTF is happening and I need to go get groceries and it's happening anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and take my credit card and max it out and get it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, realistically, this is what I think. Some people may disagree. I don't think we're going to have a full-blown SHTF where it's anarchy in the streets and, people are, doing crazy things. Yes, will there be riots? I think so. In more populated areas, there probably will be riots if there's some kind of a food shortage or financial crisis where the banks close and things like that. But I don't think it's going to be like an SHTF like you see in the movies, right? I think it's going to be a controlled economic decline where people are really going to be hurting and things are going to be really expensive to get or unavailable altogether. But I don't think that people are going to be, going crazy in the streets and bands of marauders are going to be going, around like you see in the movies. I just don't think that's going to be the case. Could that happen? Absolutely. Anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. Remember, we live in our own reality. So what I think may be one thing, you think may be another thing. So in your opinion, that may be happening at some time, and in my opinion, it may not be, right? So you just have to live within your own reality. But I guess the message of this video is, do not go into debt to prep. Do your best to get out of debt and prep at the same time. Unfortunately, I am still in a little bit of debt, and I am working very hard at trying to get out of debt so I can free myself from the bondage of having to report to someone and say, I'm here, boss. Can I go on leave on this day, boss? Having to clock in at a certain time. But that's me personally, right? So that's the message today. Don't go into debt to prep. Balance it out. If you are in debt, go ahead and balance out your debt with your preps. Even though I'm still in a little bit of debt, I still put some money aside. I still set aside a budget to prep because I think it's very important, right? But if people have all of the preps that they need already and they have debt, then they should concentrate on zeroing out their debt. And some people may say, well, if we have an economic collapse and, we have a hyperinflation, that's a way of like having a debt jubilee. Because if you have a hyperinflation event, like Weimar Germany, like Zimbabwe, like what's happening now in Argentina, and your money becomes worthless or valueless, then you can just take that money, since it's so worthless, and pay off your mortgage or pay off your credit cards, because you're going to have a lot of it, because there's going to be a lot of it hanging around. But do you really want to put yourself in that position? Do you really want to hope that there is a hyperinflation in order for your debt to be erased, right? So, like I said, this is not financial advice. It's just my 2 cents on, do I think you should go into debt to prep? And the answer to that is absolutely not. Absolutely not. Debt, in my opinion, is bondage. And bondage is not good. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I just got my morning coffee. I'm on my way to work, and I hope I'm not running late now. So I hope you all have a good day. Like I said, I'm going to more than likely put out a video tonight, if not for tomorrow morning. And I also have a video coming up soon. I've been trying not to do this. I get a lot of requests from companies that say, can you review this? Can you review that? And I've been turning some of them away. But this one company wants to send me something that I think is pretty cool. It's not really a prepping item, but I think it's a very good item. It's a kitchen item, all right? Because you guys know I like to cook. But what I did was I told them, hey, listen, I'll review this for you if you guys agree to send one for free to one of my subscribers. So they told me that if I dedicated a short video to their product, that they would be willing to send one for free at no cost to a subscriber. So instead of me just doing a review and showing you guys what it is and saying, hey, here's a link if you want to go check it out, one of you guys will be able to actually win it through the comments. So I'll figure out how we'll do that giveaway, but I have that video coming up too in the near future. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys have a good day today. All right. Have a great day. It's Tuesday. So one more day to the hump day and then 2 days to Friday. All right, so having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper, and I am out.